as and Geoffrey have Michael and Geoffrey have explained a lot about the interface of OSM and also the issues we can face why we are contributing to OSMs. So for me, I'm going to be giving more insights on what Michael and Geoffrey have explained so far. So I will be explaining more about buildings, understanding the highways and waterways. So I'm going to be using this location. Can you reload? Okay. So
yeah, so I felt like maybe bringing clients to your next makes sense.
okay. So I'll be making this area as a sample for my okay. So anytime you are mapping and you find yourself in an area to map, so there are 4 points you always have in mind. You always have in mind, which is you find which features you are mapping out, you trace out, you square, and you tag. So and that is what Michael has explained earlier. So first of all, you find the features you are mapping out. Let's assume you are mapping out a building. So we are going to find out the building. We are going to trace it out. So yes. So while tracing out, and you notice, when you are mapping a lot of things and you notice that you have a features that is white, it shows that it is untagged. That means the feature is not tagged. So until it's tagged, you're going to find out it's going to turn to red. So let's add a feature to it. So building. Now we find out that it's red now. So it's shown a signal that is tagged already. So, and when mapping, you can make sure you check out the options. If it's a circular building, if you want to move the building, if you want to square it perfectly, So I just did that now. And even flip it long, you want to rotate it, rotate it to what you want, to the shape you want, exactly. And from. So that's done. So let's check out mapping out highways or routes on our map now. So now I'm going to use our short key is to pick out. Okay, yes. So from this junction, just like what Geoffrey explained earlier, we are going to map out the location. So make sure you trace it out very well.
Mr. Brian, another job.
This place. So Michael explained something about the tagging, which is called residential road. So you're going to pick that. So the feature has been added. So if you have any information to add, that's when you add that, like about the area very well. Maybe it's your street, the street number, the name of the street, you can actually add that. So from there, you can now upload and see what you have uploaded so far. And try to avoid issues and warning. So when you're having a warning, try to go back to where you have mapped and check it out. So I will just say added a road
Doing that things.
to get about a building
For straight equipment.
then the road and building. So I can upload and also check another area where we can find out for waterways and see how we are going to map in waterways in this area. Okay, I think I found one. This is a black water using the imagery of bling. Yes, okay, I think that's it. So I think it is like it's stagnant water. Yes, okay, this is like stagnant water, which I can use my area or line to map out this stagnant water. Let's just see the tag we are going to give it. So for this stagnant water, I don't know if it's a pond or okay, let's just call it waterways, I think. Okay, Michael, please can you just help me with the tag for this? So while I'm mapping out this little area. So why mapping it out? Let me use line. It's not that to be more better. Okay, let me see. Yeah, Geoffrey, are you there?
Sure.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I think that's a pond. The tag that has a pond, yes.
Okay. So let me look for water. Okay.
That would be
So,
natural equals water, I think. Simply.
Yeah.
First one
So
in
I
that
can
list should do it.
Okay. So let me just see waterways, stream area. Can I call it a stream area?
So I would say it's natural equals water. You might even
Okay.
yeah, the water bodies. There was something like water bodies. Yeah. So
Okay. So that is how you're going to map out the features in that area. So let's check out how to map a well building. I'm trying to look for a building I can use an example. Okay, this. Let's check this out. So I'm going to map in this building. So try and zoom in very well to catch the edge of those buildings. Okay. So, okay. So, okay. And make sure you tag it. Don't forget, when you don't tag, it shows a white color. But when you tag, it shows a red color. So it shows that it has been tagged already. And if you know the features very well, more details about features, you can easily add more information on that. So, okay. Okay. I think, so let me upload. The building. So if you have a hashtag you want to add, you can easily add that. So and upload. So, and there are a lot of features you can map out using your ID editor, mapping out the vegetations. If you have like a trees in a location and you want to map out the trees, easily using your points, features, you can, okay, here it is a tree. So let's look at natural features and look for what is fit in. So let's see. Okay. I'm looking for what is going to be perfect for this. Let me check out some trees. Okay. This can be a garden. It's very the height. This you can see that from the shadow. It has a very tall. Okay. Okay, I don't see a really good fit for this feature. Let me remove that. Just so by you removing the features, you can just easily delete the features from here. Delete feature.
The first one,
So,
tree could
so
work.
you know. What do you say?
Tree. There was tree where there was feature type. If you search up the tree, but after adding the point,
Let me. Yes. Okay. Or can we call it a pack? Okay. I've seen it. Okay. So yes, thanks, Geoffrey. So I can just copy that and come here, paste. Okay. Just come here again, paste it and put it. So yeah. So you just easily added a feature data like using a point data, and you can just paste. Okay, let's put one more here. I think that's good. Okay. So there is a lot of features you can add in a particular area where you're mapping. Maybe you want to develop your street. You can easily navigate down there, map it out very well because you know every details in that your area. You can map it out and create a map with it. You know, it's always cool doing something cool like that. So let's add, okay, added more, let's just say trees. Okay. Let's do trees. Okay. So okay. So don't forget the point while you're mapping using your ID. You find, you trace, you map, and you tag. Make sure you tag using ID. It's very helpful. You find, you trace, you map, and you tag. So thank you so much. Any question? Yeah, over to you, Michael.
Yeah, so thanks, Nancy. Yeah, so there was one general question whether there are also shortcuts for the tags. Well, there are none because, well, there are, well, not exactly innumerable amount of tags, but there are so many tags and there are so many different applications. So that's really not possible. So, and as I said, it's an editor built into the browser and it's not highly configurable, so you cannot define your own shortcuts. That's a little bit of a shortcoming of the ID editor, but yeah, we'll have to live with that. But it remembers how you tagged objects before. That means if you draw an area and tag it as a building, and then you move on and draw another area, then building will be on the top of the list in the left part of that window pane. So you can easily click on that again and don't have to navigate through some hierarchy of area objects. So that's a little bit of a relief, but anyways, that's yeah, there is no shortcut for that. Yes, well, Geoffrey has already been talking about the upload process and the change set comments. So if I look, just so this one here. So that means yeah, now that Mercy has finished his basic editing part 2 and the uploads have already been covered, there is not much more we have to talk about in here. Oh, yeah, so Geoffrey just noticed that, yeah, we're missing multi-polygon building, and that's, yeah, that's something really important. And I think I have an interesting example here. Let me just interrupt that. Go back. And yep, neat. I found something. where I can catch two things with this. So, okay, if we move in here and select, well, let's use Maxa Premium in this case. A couple of buildings have already been mapped here, but this one here is missing. And this is a point where I can easily show you two interesting bits in one catch. First of all, this is a building which has an inner courtyard in here. And secondly, is a building where it's not quite clear right from the beginning how to map that, because it's a taller building and it has been recorded, this imagery, at an angle. So, well, there are certainly many points how you could do that, but let me just show you how I would do that. Of course, we start with the outline, and tall buildings like that, we can safely assume that the footprint looks pretty much like the roof. So let's start somewhere here at the roof and try to follow the outline of the roof. This one here and here. Maybe not as exactly as you would do it in reality, but I think you still get the point. Let's move here. So of course I would be mapping in order to upload that. I would certainly include a few more of all those notches here. Okay. I hit escape right now and select it again and press Q in order, first of all, to rectangularize all the corners. So this looks pretty much okay. Well, unfortunately, if I just tag it as a building, then we would not have this hole in here. So that's where a multi-polygon comes in. Multi-polygon basically is a container for all sorts of objects, point lines and areas. And yeah, in terms of buildings, it has the interesting feature here that we can have outer and inner contours. So if I scroll down here, it's kind of a relation. So I say add to a relation, because a relation is the general terms under which multi-polygons fall. And then I would like to create a new relation, because, well, there is no one so far. Okay. And this one is called a multi-polygon. So we start with a multi-polygon. I click in here and yep, it's a building. Okay, part one. We also need to define the role. The role says whether it's an outer or an inner contour. So this one is an outer contour. Okay. Now, let me just escape so that, well, this one is kept here. And now let me draw an area for the inner contour again. I will make it a little bit quicker. Just need those 4 corners in here. Square all the edges. Well, now we have to add this inner contour in a way to the outer contour so that it's clear that this will be the whole. Again, I scroll down here. Once this is, well, this is still selected. I want to add it to a relation. And now I just have to look for the existing one. Probably it's the one, yeah, it's this building which is highlighted here. Others might be somewhere around here, but yeah, we need this one, of course. Add it to this here. And now we have to specify the role, and of course it's inner. And now deselect everything. I think I might even, yeah, hide the background imagery so that it's a bit, okay, none. So then we see, okay, that this inner contour is not part of the building. So this one is really just, you see here it's hatched and here the side is hatched. So that's the area which belongs to the building, and there's one does not belong to the building. So that's how we can basically create the multi-polygon. So you simply draw outer and inner contour separately as you would draw any contour. A multi-polygon is a special kind of relation. You start with the outer contour. You just create a new relation, set the proper outer tag for the role. Then you pick the inner contour, go to this relay, say that you want to make it part of a relation, look for the existing relation where the outer contour had been added and add it as an inner contour. So, and then, yeah, you're done with this multi-polygon. I said, well, it's a tall building and we might want to pay slightly more attention to that because all professional maps show building footprints. And it is important that we try to do that as well when we map for OpenStreetMap, because if we have narrow streets with tall buildings on either side, well, the road is always on the surface, of course. And if the building footprints are not on the surface, and these buildings here on the right would be much higher, so that the shadow would extend probably up here, then we run into trouble if we don't map the real footprints. If the buildings had been, the imagery here had been recorded at an angle, there will always be one corner where we can exactly see where the building footprint is. So holding down the Shift key, I select both contours, the outer and inner one, and then, outer and the inner one, and then I hit M for move. And then I move this whole construct so that the upper right corner in this case matches where on the aerial imagery I can see where the building hits the ground, and I place it here. And that's how we should map taller buildings. So try to match the footprint and not the roof, because buildings of different size next to each other can only be concisely mapped when we map everything at its footprint. That's what professional maps show. They show what's on the ground. Yeah, that's something we should really mention in this case. Yeah, so still no questions in the chat, no further ones. Yeah, except for that one that, will you share the recording? Well, of course, that's why there was a recording. And Hot has a YouTube channel where you can always look for recordings. You will find recordings of all our webinars. There have been both ID and JOSM in the beginners and advanced version for a couple of times now. So you will simply go to youtube.com/hotusm.org. No, not org, sorry. HotOSM, of course, youtube.com/HotOSM. That's our channel. And you can get to playlists, and for instance, shouldn't take that long to find the Hot training webinar series. No, I really don't want to see that. So, and here you have JOSM for beginners, advanced JOSM, and you also have previous recordings of our JOSM, our ID webinar. So it covers the last couple of, so that was ID for beginners from the last summer. Of course, you can also have a peek at the advanced ID training from last autumn. You see they're always typically between 1.5 and 2 hours. So, but of course, you're invited to join the advanced ID training live. It will be within, say, maybe the next 2 months or so. And it will be announced on the usual social media channels, just where you got to know about the present webinar. So, yeah, that's it basically. Of course, we don't let you out in the wild. There are options how to reach out to us. You can send us an email. You can send to mapadash@hotosm.org. Or if you just want to get in touch with the training working group in general, write to training@hotosm.org. You will get responses. Just keep in mind that most of us are volunteers, so it's not a 24/7 support with 15-minute response time, but you will get answers. We're also very active in our Slack system. So if you haven't heard about that, you can join via slack.hotosm.org. There you will be asked to answer a few questions, and after that you will be sent an invite to the Slack system, which is basically a chat platform. There are a couple of channels. You will find yourself in the general channel at first, and there is a mapper support channel as well. Of course, the training working group, just like the other working groups, have other channels as well. Slack is quite good if you just need a quick answer or if you have something urgent, because someone is typically always online. If you think the question might need a more elaborate answer and there's more time to think of, then email might be a preferred media. But anyways, you can reach us at all those places. And of course, the Humanitarian OpenStreetMap team also has a website, hotosm.org, where you can find more information about the organization, what it does, and how you can interact with it, what working groups there are. We always love to hear feedback, love to hear from you, but for now I think we can finish today's meeting. And yeah, thanks for being with us. Although the number was not quite as large as the number of the registrations, still we had some 30 to 40 people listening in here. So thanks for your patience. Thanks for your questions. Keep mapping for the good cause, and have a nice weekend. And with that, I'd like to say goodbye.